Well, hello there. It is I, Carolina, and this is my couch. Thank you for joining me in episode 2 of my YouTube channel about episode 2 of The Wheel of Time, Amazon Prime's new TV show, and my favorite book series. Coincidence would have it.
Coincidence? I think not!
Episode 2 starts off with a frickin' terrible but cool moment with Eamon Valda, who is already killing the game. That guy is creepy as... What I found the creepiest about that moment was the smacking noises he was making with his BDSM bird that he was eating. I mean, this guy's got some serious issues. But this, like... I loved it. I hated it. But I loved it. Okay, my next favorite thing was at the Perrin ferry, which is 2 parts. First part being, I love the line where he's like, "You're not the type of woman that hears no often." And then she's like, "No, bitch, I'm not." And I'm like, I'm going to try not to make this a Moraine fan page, but it's becoming increasingly more difficult as the episodes go on. Second part I love about the Perrin ferry scene is just the theme of it, which is the difficult choices that Moraine's having to make, but actually it is kind of a foreshadowing of the choices that all of the Innis Fielders are going to have to start making as we progress into the tragedy that is the Wheel of Time. I know it's not a tragedy, but the arc of these characters, seeing how they are now and their innocence, I'm already sad about what's going to happen to these poor wee children. But yeah, it's a beautiful example of how she has to balance what's right and what is actually going to be good for the world. Not even just good for these guys that she's with. It's just to balance the weight of the world versus this man and his family. And it's a really difficult decision, of course, but she's probably been having to make decisions like that for the last at least 20 years on her quest. So she's used to it. These other guys are like, "That is a stone cold bitch right there.
Boss bitch or bitch boss?"
And she's like, "The wheel weaves as the wheel wills. I'm trying my best." My next favorite thing was the Rand and Matt moment. You know, Rand's being, I don't want to say complete douche canoe, because he has right to be as kind of confused as he is about Moraine and what they're doing, and there's a lot of trauma that's just building up, and he's kind of projecting, is what it looks like to me. He's projecting on Egwene, he's projecting on Moraine, and it is what it is. But I love when Matt's just like, "Put your eggplant away for a moment, good sir, and let's talk about this. It is really crappy what's going on, but the lady shoots fireballs." And, you know, he's making a joke, but, like, he's right. So, I love when a joke is also poignant. The next thing this is like a small, just like, it feels like an ode to the fans. You would probably need somebody scouting ahead anyways if you're in this sort of situation, and so it's just realistic. I appreciate that they gave us this little thing of Lan going out ahead, then riding on back, going out ahead and riding on back. Another thing I liked, and by liked I mean adored with all of my heart, was the Manetheren song and story. The song is a frickin'... Damn, man, that song is good. And then I love the story as well. I mean, it's such a clever writing device to have that song lead into the story, because there are so many songs that we sing all the time in real life canon where it's about, you know, like London Bridge is falling down. That whole song is this beautiful, like, ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy. And then one day when you're like, usually around when you're like randomly 15, somebody comes up to you and is like, "You know, that song is like desperately sad." And you're like, "Oh, and that's like, this is what this moment felt like too. The next thing this isn't even a thing. This is just, there's like Lan like throws Moraine onto Perrin's saddle, and Perrin's just like, "It's so cute. She's just so little," and he's just like, big old Perrin bear. Shadar Logoth looks frickin' tight. I'd like to hang out there. I know that it's like supremely dangerous and you know, an evil worse than the Dark One lives there and whatever. Like, I get it. I want to just take a visit, you know, like a quick afternoon, you know, when that evil is kind of just, you know, taking a break for the day. Just sneak in, have a look around. I'm not going to take anything. I'm not a dumb, like, somebody else we know, but looks freaking cool. And also, kind of looks like a drawing I did. Do you want to see it? Oh, I have it right here. That's so weird. I don't know how it got there. I don't know who put it there. Yeah, so I did this drawing, and it doesn't look exactly like my drawing, but there's like, especially like the domes and shit, like it looks kind of like my drawing. This is the Eredal side, which is before they went cuckoo for Kokobus, and this is the Shatter Logoth side. There's some darkness there. I did the mist that's kind of described in the books. The mist, like the sticky, it always seemed kind of tentacly to me. But, you know, these little darkness spots could potentially be construed as similar to what they have in the show. So moving on from there, the scene between Matt and Perrin is Matt is taking my heart in his hands and tearing it out of my freaking chest with this such a emotionally empathic moment to be like, my dude Perrin has not spoken a word since episode 1, and it is distressing, so I'm gonna give him this knife that his wife made me.
My emotions!
Really gives you a second to be like, this guy's a good guy. And we need that because he's about to become the worst. But in the books, as many have mentioned, he's kind of cute for like two chapters and then takes that dagger, and then we're like, oh god, this man is problematic. So, you know, it's really nice that they're giving us these moments because it gives us a chance to like him before we have to hate him with all of our being. Next thing I loved was Lan's like 2 singular locks coming over his Hidori when we're in like the most stressful situation of our lives at Shatter Logoth, and he's made a huge mistake. I see you, Lan. I see your locks, and I love them. The next thing is kind of a broader thing that I like. And then there's a part of it that I don't like. The part I like is that everything is hugely epic. I mean, the landscapes are breathtakingly large. I think to counterbalance that, though, because it's only landscape so far, and even in next episode when we get a city, it's such a small city, it just feels like this world is like barren, especially with the coming Perrin and Egwene, huge fields of destitute. The flat, that, but we don't see a single house even, like not even like a barn, you know.
Where is everybody?
Yeah, I love the epicness of how it looks, but I think they need to counterbalance that with some epic cities, which hopefully as we move forward, they will. The next thing that I appreciated quite a bit was that Nynaeve kept her Trolloc knife. That girl... The whole knife to the neck thing. Bit of foreplay there. I just think it's so freaking badass that she took the Trolloc knife and is just wielding it like it's hers. Because it is hers, you know what? That's true. She earned that. Those are my loves. Now for the things I did not particularly love. The first thing being that they killed a horse. I don't consider myself a horse girl, but come on, man. Come on. Perrin and Egwene jumping what was the equivalent of the entire Earth.
I have been falling for 30 minutes!
To this river. Genuinely, they died. Like, what we're watching now in these further episodes is actually the ghosts of Perrin and Egwene, and it's a whole hallucination thing, and the entire show is now actually Tel'aran'rhiod, and they are just spirits. I said what I said. They would not have frickin' survived that jump. I've seen people say, oh, they're stronger, and the people who have stronger bones and whatever, in commentary, which maybe that's true because there's been a few things where you're like, they should be dead. Like Moraine being frickin' jackhammered with a sword. She should have died. So, okay, maybe they're setting us up to believe that people have more gusto to their ability to survive fatal jumps. I mean, it's fine. It's fantasy, so we believe what we have to believe. Okay. The other thing I didn't love is the excuse for Matt leaving his sisters. You know, Perrin's like, oh, our families will check on them. Like, that's not how bad family situations goes. You can't just check in every other few days and then those kids are going to be fine. Like, you got to get them out of that situation. They're living with an alcoholic mother and a father that clearly doesn't care. And there's probably some other stuff going on there. I honestly would have rather them not even address it than to pretend that it would be fine for just some family, some close friends to come over every now and again and be like, how are the kids doing? Okay, so those are the things I didn't love. Now for the things I'm kind of unsure of. Things I'm unsure of are actually going to be probably a bit controversial with most people, because I think all of them are things other people really love, and I'm like, I do not. First thing being Egwene and Rand. I think the scenes are good, don't get me wrong, and I think that it is good that they're in a relationship that's falling apart and that they're no longer going to be together. And maybe this thing I have a complaint with is actually not even a complaint because it's good, and that is that they don't have any chemistry. Eek! I'll say what I said! Next thing I wasn't sure of, and I'm not sure of, is the White Cloaks. Like, I do love the vibes they're giving off, and I love Aemon Valda, but the cloaks, and I've heard people say, oh, they would be so clean because they're this, pristine group that is so intensely involved in their own image. I don't think that follows, because yes, they are, but it's false. Like, it's a show, and only some of them actually even feel the way that they preach to feel, and they're using their status as White Cloaks to cover up a deep-seated grotesqueness. So my point in that is that I don't think all of them would be pristine, but then I'm like, okay, maybe because it's a cult and it's also an army of sorts, that like an army you have to keep up regulation when it comes to how you appear. Part of them wearing skirts doesn't totally make sense to me because that's incredibly ineffective for battle, and even if they were trying to be as uppity up as they are, I don't think they would sacrifice their ability to fight. And then also, they look like hipster baristas. It looks like they're about to be like, oh, with your burning at the stake today, would you like a side of free trade espresso? I'm like, you can't just whip up your hair like that and expect me to think it's anything more than a boy band. It's a mix of modern and Renaissance, which is what I was hoping for, but I think they should have given more Renaissance than modern. I think the modern aspect to it is just coming on a little too strong, and it really kind of gives me a weird feeling in my stomach. I don't know why. Sorry, that was really harsh, but it's not even actually an unsure. I think that's just something I don't like. But again, like the way I feel about the colors of the Ajas, I'm hoping that the White Cloaks grow on me, and that the more I see it, the less I'm like, oof.
It's just my opinion.
That's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you think. I know I've said a lot of controversial things, maybe, or maybe not enough controversial things. Let me know. I might add some more. I love this show. If that ever doesn't seem to be coming across, that's because I'm trying to be critical. I'm trying to give a good opinion. Not because I don't adore it. My name's Carolina. This has been my couch. Thank you for coming to my channel today and watching the whole video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and leave a comment down below on what you think of my thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say, as well as what you think I got wrong. And until next time, make good choices. Or don't, I'm not your mom.